Hello and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. My name is Harriet. Today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review for the Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. I did promise you that I would read this and I did actually get through it. This isn't my edition, this is Callum's that he found at a book swap. My edition is currently back at home because it was really heavy and really thick and I needed to get it out of the house after I'd finished with it. But yeah, this is going to be my review for this book. Now, if you didn't know what the Silmarillion is, it's been classed as kind of like the Bible of the Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth and this wonderful world, this fantasy world that J.R.R. Tolkien created. Now, I believe that this was actually published after Tolkien died by his son and edited and kind of pieced together because it was never actually fully completed. However, it does read like a completed works, but it's not your standard everyday book. So it's not something that I would say that you can sit and read as easily as your typical like hyped popular books. I wouldn't even go as far as to say that it's as easy to read as Lord of the Rings, which I do know that some people struggle to read the Lord of the Rings trilogy because it can be a little bit flowery and prosy. So if you struggle to read those, I maybe would not recommend reading this. Maybe listen to it as an audiobook instead. But definitely a very interesting way of reading and something I hadn't really experienced before. If you like to read a lot of books that are in verse and things like that, you probably get on quite well with this. I wouldn't say it's the most complicated book and it's nowhere near as difficult to read as what I was expecting based on reviews and things that I'd seen and people talking about it. I didn't really struggle at any point. I feel like the main thing to note would be how many names are in this and how similar the names are. They all start with like the same letter if they're in the same household or part of the same family, so that can be a little bit confusing at times. But the more you read it, the more you just naturally remember the names and who those people are. So please don't, if you are reading this, don't feel like you have to remember every name because I feel like that would just really confuse you. It would definitely confuse me. So I didn't bother with that. I just kind of read it and eventually the names sank in and I understood who everyone was. So that was quite a nice experience for me. I didn't have any issues with that at all. It's just something that I wanted to put in here so that you know. I think it was a really nice way to kind of learn about the history of Middle-earth, and if you have any questions from reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy or The Hobbit, then this does answer all of those questions that you would have. It talks about the whole history of Middle-earth and how it came to be and kind of the gods of that world, how the elves came to be, how man came to be. It was just very, very interesting. And yes, it is a very intense and very long read. I think this edition, let me have a look at how many pages it has. So this has 304 pages. However, this is quite a big book, quite a long book, so you can fit quite a lot on those pages. I think my edition was like 400, 500 pages long, which is quite a lot for a book that doesn't read like a regular novel would. And if you're not used to that kind of writing style, then it might feel like a bit of a slog. But I really do think it would be good as an audiobook to kind of listen to if you are interested in the history of Middle-earth whatsoever. I really do think that this is something that would be worth picking up. I just kind of want to put a warning out there that yes, it is a little bit complicated, but it's not as bad as what I personally think people have been saying it is. In fact, I would go so far as to say that this was actually a very fun read. I felt like it challenged me enough that I really wanted to push myself to get through it. I wanted to pick it up and I wanted to learn about this wonderful, rich history, such gorgeous world building by Tolkien. You cannot deny how incredible this author was at making this fantastic world and all the wonderful characters that are in it. There's just so much complexity and I don't even know how I would begin to create a world like that. I really don't think that I have the creativity to do that. So I was definitely awestruck by how fantastical the world was and how deep it goes. So I suppose you could say this is almost like a non-fiction of the fictional world in the respect that it is like a history book about this place that doesn't exist. But I genuinely had a very, very fun time with it, and Callum actually finished this as well, which he hasn't been reading that many books. So though it is hard to rate this book because like I say, it's almost like a non-fiction set in a fictional world, I did actually give this a 5-star rating. I just think that it is completely incredible how Tolkien created this world and that is all in this wonderful little book. And I do like that it challenged me. It's made reading a little bit more enjoyable for me now because this is probably as complicated as it gets, right? So when I'm reading other books, they just seem so easy and so simple to read. But yeah, a 5-star rating for this one. I definitely recommend it if you're interested in Middle-earth. If you're worried about how complicated it is, please don't. I promise it's not that bad, but if you're super scared of it, then listen to it as an audiobook and just try it out. See if you like the way that it is written or not. Please do let me know down below if you have read this book and what you thought to it. Also let me know if you read the Lord of the Rings trilogy or The Hobbit. But that is everything from me today. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye.